I'm so excited about who's next. Sherri Starr and Jessie Cox are our next guests on Fempreneur Coach Connection. And they're talking how to get your first or next ideal client. Sherri and Jessie are the support squad for coaches wanting to make their business real. They help online business coaches ditch the solo struggle and build their business with them so they can spend less time DIYing and more time serving and earning. Their synergistic approach combines their business and coaching superpowers to provide high value, creative, and tactical coaching without breaking the bank to help coaches get unstuck and stay unstuck so they can finally make their business real. I've known them for about a year and I just love being in their virtual presence. And I know you'll love getting to know them too on today's show. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wanted something more? More in business, home life, relationship life? Say word if you agree. Word. In 2019, I created a business for coaches to market in this wacky way, virtual events. All with a 7-to-7 job. I'm a full-time nurse, by the way. And like you, there were just not enough hours in the day. My partner was feeling alone, and generally, this wasn't fun anymore. But then I realized I needed to build myself back up. Mind, body, soul, and even my business. So I created a show that does just that, interviewing all types of coaches, life, wellness, fertility, career, financial, wealth, and business. Join me on my journey with some of the best coaches who want to empower other coaches to live their best lives and build businesses that fulfill them. My name is Nicole Beatty, and this is Fempreneur Coach Connection. All right, welcome to the show, Sherri Jessie.
Yeah,
I was dancing. That's a great song.
I'm telling you, when the show starts, I know what kind of episode it's going to be when I see the guests dancing in the background, waiting for it to come on, waiting for their cue. So I know what kind of show this is going to be now. It's going to be fun.
Yay. Yes, it is.
Yay. I'm so excited that you guys are here because anytime I ask, they're like, okay, what? How? What can I do? What can we do? And I'm so grateful for you guys for being my friends and for coming on. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, we do.
So, okay. So I want people to know a little bit about how this came to be, because I'm telling you, having a dynamic duo is rare in the online space. So I kind of want to hear a little bit about how you two came to be, and and what exactly you do.
All right, Jessie, you take this because you are the reason why we're here together.
Oh, yay. Very long story short, but I started off in the business world, became a stay-at-home mom, tried to go back into the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and it moved on without me. And then got into doing vision board workshops and got into life coaching. I went to an amazing mastermind session where I met the incredible Sherri Starr. We hit it off immediately. Hello. We started working together. And then when 2020 hit, COVID and George Floyd murder, we decided we really wanted to do something that would really talk to other people and talk about social and racial injustice. And so we did a live event together. I just have never worked with somebody so easily as I did with Sherri. That was always kind of in the back of my mind. And then, again, during COVID, just sitting home, I started, on a lot of Facebook groups of coaches that have purchased these high ticket programs that I also purchased. I started to notice that there are a lot of coaches who were asking questions in these Facebook groups, and it was like crickets. Nobody was answering them back. And then I started answering them. And then eventually people would say, hey, can I jump on a call with you? And I said, sure. And so I reached out to Sherri and said, look, there's a real need here. There's a gap where coaches are buying these high ticket programs, or even not, trying to decide whether to buy these high ticket programs. And then they're left alone, to kind of do it on their own with no support. And I really, really wanted to be the support for that. So I reached out to Sherri. She said yes. It was kind of like asking her to marry me on a first date, but she said yes, thankfully. And it's ever since, it's been nothing but just great times working together, really fun in creating our business, and always infusing the fun, infusing our personalities, and infusing who we are into everything we do.
Yeah, I would agree with the fact that Sherri is a joy, but you two together, I mean, it's just like I said, it's like being in your presence. It's a cool thing. It's fun. It's light. You guys make things easy for us. So, I just want to say that.
Yay, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So Sherri, I mean, obviously we know from Jessie's side, like, what do you think about coming together and creating this whole thing? Like, how did you see this happening?
Well, okay. So a little background about me is I was in a career for 22 years that did not light me up. I finally took the leap and became a coach. And I went through lots of iterations as a coach, pivoted a lot. And one of the pivots I made was as a people-pleasing coach, because that was one of my biggest struggles, was being able to know what I want and go for that and not be as concerned about what other people want. So I had created a whole world around the boundaries that I create. I was very clear on how much I can take on and what's a yes and what's a no. So I have a process of going through. When somebody asks me something, I go through a process that helps me define for myself if it's a yes or no. So when Jessie reached out to me,
you're providing that in some sort of course, correct? Some sort of something.
That was a course. Yes.
Oh, that was a course. Okay. So it was a course. Okay.
It was a course called Polite Rebel. I created it because of what I needed. For so many years, I didn't know how to do that. So I did so much learning and I overcame that for myself. And I was a huge client for myself. Basically, I did everything that I would tell clients to do. And that's what I did. So when Jessie reached out and said, I have an idea, I want you to do this summit with me, my initial response was, I need time to think about this, because at the time that she reached out to me, I was really starting with a new pivot. That was, as a sales coach, I was coaching my clients to and creating custom scripts for them so that they could understand the sales process. And my clients were killing it, like making millions of dollars. And I was starting this new lane of being a sales coach, and it was really working, and I was loving it. Jessie swoops in and then asks me to do this. And I know me, the capacity, my first instinct is to say, yes, that sounds like so much fun, because I love Jessie and we did a great job together and we love working together. But because I've trained myself to wait and think and pause and ask my body, like, does this feel like a yes? Do I have capacity for this? All that. It took maybe, I don't know, half an hour before all these little ideas started popping up and I wanted to know more. So I texted her back, like, tell me more, let's get on a call.
So it was half an hour. It's half an hour of inner work. It kind of said, okay, yeah, it feels good. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. And it's kind of like when I was dating my husband, it just kept checking out. Like, you go on a date and it feels good and there's no reason to stop that. Right. So then you just keep going. And then, there came a day where Jessie said, okay, so this might be a little premature, but I'm thinking that we should do an LLC. We need to form an LLC because it needs to be a legit business. And I'm like, whoa, okay, wait a sec. Now we're getting married.
Yeah. Once you start talking LLCs, I mean, that's the marriage certificate. That's all those things. Yeah.
So it was a little scary, but everything in me, Jessie and I have the same intentions. We have the same heart. We have the same joy. Our happiness is like one of our highest priorities in our life. And so when we're together, it just works because we both have the same intention.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling y'all, like, you'll feel it when you do see them together. When you are seeing them in their event, when you're in their Facebook group, you do feel that, and that they really bounce in and complement each other very well. So just a little tag, get in their Facebook group. Okay. And we'll talk about it in a little bit in case you're not already on it. So let's get down to business, because I know that people are dying to hear from the coach's coach, how to get your first or next ideal client. We've talked about on the show about, making sure that you're in alignment with your leadership and making sure that you have those skills, making sure that, you're practicing self-care and, all those sorts of things. So, you're talking about how to get, and we also talked about clients first. Get a client first before you go into all this, social world and all these things that we do, thinking we have to do that and then get a client. But you're going to tell us how to get the first or next ideal client. We are all here for it. Get your pens and papers. Let's do it. So first thing you talk about is mindset, that selling is not incongruent with serving. So tell us what you mean by that.
All right. So first thing we want everyone to understand is what we're talking about is organic marketing and organic selling, right? So before you can do that, you have to embrace the idea that, first of all, not only are you a coach, but you are a business owner. And if you can't sell your products and services and programs, you really can't have a business. So you just have to have that mindset of, this is my business. This is my job. I'm not just a coach. And I think that is one of the things we see so often of coaches coming to us, and they resist the whole idea of even talking about what they can offer and even inviting people in. So when we say mindset, it's really about understanding that you don't have to spend any money right now to get those clients, but we do have to embrace the idea of, I am a coach. I also love selling my programs and services. And if you can try that on, then you're in a good start.
Okay, so I want everybody to note what she just said. You don't have to purchase, you don't have to buy anything, is what you okay, I wish I knew that from the beginning. But but you don't have to buy anything. All you have to focus on is getting the clients. And that's definitely a new concept, as we think we have to purchase, well, let me purchase the Instagram course, let me purchase the email marketing course. That's a different way of thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so important when we said it's organic. Marketing is really just, and look, as coaches, we really do come to serve. That's what we really want to do. So getting into that business mindset is something that you really have to embrace. And then when you do, being able to infuse that. So we talk about infusing that into everything that you do organically. So even in that mindset of going out, when you're talking to people, and they say, like, how's it going? Like, now every time anybody asks me how it's going, I'm like, it's great. My business is growing. I'm helping coaches every day to create a business that they love and impact that is real. And by consistently talking about that, by saying it all the time, which I feel like I do, my people around me are hearing that. And even if it's not for them, they may know somebody that it is for them. So they're like our biggest ad, without putting any ad spend. It's like, if your people around you know what you do, they're going to sell that for you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So you just said something there that kind of was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, one of the biggest hurdles, at least for me, remember, I have this show so I can get coaching for myself. At least for me, is that, I didn't tell practically anybody on the personal level. When I say personal, I mean family, and a lot of families still don't know. Yeah. I had college people that would say, is this you, thinking that they stole my identity and is using my identity as this Fempreneur online person. They were like, what is this? Somebody stole, is it you? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. It's me. And they're like, oh, what is this? And people would kind of ask me some questions, but the mindset of, I'm going to tell everybody. Yes. That's a scary thing. And I'm still working through why it's scary for me to tell people.
Jessie,
Jessie, are you okay? Okay. So provide me that insight, because I'm sure somebody out there has that too.
Sure. I mean, the reality of it is that you created a person, right? So Nicole, you're a nurse, and that's what everybody knows, right? So that's going out there, right? And so saying, I am Fempreneur Online, right? It's a pivot. It's something new that they're hearing about. And especially as coaches, as we're growing our business, I mean, I've pivoted, like I just even said in the beginning, like after my business world, I went into hosting vision board workshops, and then I went into life coaching, and here I am coaching business coaches or coaches, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to embrace the fact that it was okay that I pivoted and I'm doing something new, and I'm telling my world that. And I think that there's a reluctance on that, because I think a lot of coaches, a lot of business people in general say, oh, but I just told them the other day that I was doing this, and now I'm doing that. Right. And that's okay. I think you have to embrace it first before they're going to embrace it.
Mhm.
So being able to say, yep, I pivoted. I'm a business coach right now. That's okay.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a point of you have to believe in what you're doing first before anyone else is going to believe it. So basically, you are your first sale, right?
Ooh.
So think about that. If you're not really believing the words you're saying about who you are, if you're still stuck in your old identity of, like, for me, for 22 years, I was a court reporter. If I wasn't able to move on from the identity of being a court reporter and now saying I'm a coach and I believe it, how do you believe it though? You know, there's a gap. And you said it earlier, Nicole, and that is to get a client as soon as possible, even if it's discount. You know, a lot of people say, don't ever give away your services for free. We have a different take on that. You need to bridge the gap of your belief. And that could mean a free client first, a beta client, somebody who is committed. Their skin is in the game because you've made them commit in some way. You've gotten their true commitment. It doesn't have to be with money, could be with $50, whatever. But you have to be able to see that you can truly help people, take it out of a conceptual idea and put it into your life so that you can see on their face you've made a difference, that you can see in their results that you can really do this. Your belief changes quickly, your confidence changes quickly, and then you can say the words and mean it, and then they feel it.
Oh, okay. So quite frankly, I know you're changing some minds now because, you know, when you are unable to say to the world, this is what I do, you know, you guys have been doing this for several years before pandemic. I've been doing this for several years now. And to not completely be able to say, this is what I do to everyone in my life. Yeah. I mean, bless my husband. He still doesn't quite know what I do. I tell him all the time, but he's like, I still don't really get it, but it's okay. Because, you know, online business, I mean, as of maybe 2018 are you like, is this legal? Like what you're doing? like that's, I think what I would hear in the background. And the second I heard the is it legal thing, I was like, okay, I can't trust anybody else to know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like that was a pretty much like, okay, people thinking I'm going into some sort of illegal funny business, you know?
So think about this, Nicole. If anyone's ever been on a diet, but they didn't really want to be on a diet, then they go out with their friends. And at the end of the dinner, the waiter comes and says, would you like some dessert? And then everybody around says, oh yeah, I want some cheesecake or whatever. But you say, oh, I wish I could, but I can't because, you know, I'm on a diet. Everybody's going to try to save you. They're going to try to say, oh my gosh, Sherri, you should have the cake. You should really do that. You love cake.
Yeah, that's what I would
do. But
do.
if you approach it like, yeah, right. But if you approach it like this, if you were clear and confident about your decision, I just don't want sugar anymore. It's not good for my body. I can feel a difference when I have it and when I don't. The waiter comes around and says, would you like dessert? You get to say, no, thank you. I don't feel like having it. Nobody is going to try to save you. And even if they did, it bounces right off of you. So if you feel like I am Fempreneur Online and I do this and this is what I love, and you feel clear about that, and anyone else listening, if you feel so clear about who you are and what you do, people will not try to rain on your parade as much, and they won't try to save you from this confusing thing that you're doing, right? Does that help?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's, you know, this is a process for sure of, you know, everyone, you know, getting over their own mindset blocks. And that's one that I am trying to get over, but this isn't personal coaching. I realize that. So let's get to the next one. So know your fundamentals. So the who, what, and how of your niche or niche, however you say it. I'm interested for you guys to tell us your take on what that means for fundamentals.
Yeah. Well, the first one, and I want Jessie to talk about this, but the first one is about your message. We touched on it, but Jessie, talk about why message is so important.
It really is, because once you have your message, it's so clear. So I mean, there's so many ways I can talk about it. Like, so when I go out now with, you know, I have 2 kids, and so I'm always around moms, and they're always like, what do you do? What's going on? How are you? And I always tell them what I do. Like, I'm doing great. I'm serving coaches who are struggling in their DIY solo struggle to create the impact that they want to make their business real, make their impact real, make their cash flow real, and make getting clients real. That's super clear. So a great example also is I was on a vacation and I was going up to the hotel room and like taking client calls and then coming downstairs and hanging out and taking client calls. And between it, the person that I was with kept asking questions and I was like giving her everything I was doing. This mom now can go out there and say my message to anybody because it was so clear. It was so on point that there's no question as to what I do. And so having your message be super clear and not confusing. Like, I think that's another thing with coaches. It's like, so I sort of kind of, so I help people with the thing that's not clear and nobody's going to go like, yeah, I want that, like, you know, but if I comes no matter what, and my message comes through, like I say, in everything that I do, when somebody asks me how I'm doing, when somebody says, what are you doing? How's your day going? Like any question that they ask me, I can tie it back into my message visits. I help coaches ditch the DIY struggle, ditch the solopreneur lane, and, you know, really create that business that's real, to make their impact real, to make their message real, to make their clients real, to make everything real. They know what I'm talking about. So my message is so clear that nobody questions what I do anymore. And like I said, even before, like, now those people can actually tell my message for me. I don't even have to do it anymore. It's like a perfect telephone where they're not mincing their words. They know exactly what I'm offering.
Yeah. You can tell, and here's a good gauge. You can tell if your message is clear if two things you can do. One of the things we have our clients do is we bring in Jesse's 10-year-old.
Soon to be 10-year-old. Soon to be 10-year-old. Yeah.
He's soon to be 10, right? And we say, okay, client, say your message to Kingston. And they say the message, and then he reflects back what he heard. And if he can get it, then it's a good message.
Wait, that's a legit exercise that you do?
Yes.
Oh, I pay him $5 every time.
Oh my goodness. Well, look, my stepdaughter would love to be a part of that little thing.
Little
Pay her
coaches.
anything. Yeah, that's
it's actually
because
quite,
yeah,
it's
go
quite
ahead.
It's just quite brilliant. I mean, really, if your message is clear enough, then a 9-year-old, 10-year-old is going to understand it. The way he repeats it. I mean, he goes around telling people what I do. Like, it's when he's at school, he's like, I tell people that you're helping coaches all the time. And I'm like, great. Like, he knows my message. So when we bring other people on and they give their message and he comes back and says, oh, so you're helping people with their energy and how they feel on a daily basis. It's like, yeah, that's what I just
bless
said.
His heart.
Bless
his heart. I'm sure that's like the best session.
So fun. We love bringing him in. So that's one way to gauge it, is something like that. Another way is when people are asking you questions, if you're telling them what you do and they are kind of confused, or if they ask a question to get more clarity, that's a good sign that it needs to just get dialed in, right? So we would recommend that you practice that message. It's never going to be the same and perfect. We don't want it to be like an elevator pitch. It shouldn't, like, you could hear Jessie, even in those couple times she said it, it's different every time. I like that because it's not a rehearsed thing. We know who we serve and what we do. So practice saying it. And when you see someone kind of like lean in or go, oh, that's me. Like when I was a people pleasing coach, I would say I help women who struggle with people pleasing to learn that when something is something that they should say yes to, and when it's a no, and how to actually create a world where you're not feeling like you're living for other people. And I wouldn't even finish what I was saying before women would be like, I'm that, or my sister's that. And so
they'd identify. Yeah. They
identify. So like what Jessie said, the purpose of a message is not just so that people will hire you, but so people can refer you easily.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So in other words, my message is not dialed in because my husband still doesn't know what is I do. Okay. And if he doesn't know, then I know that it isn't dialed in, because he is I don't want to say a 9-year-old, but he pretty much will be like, that doesn't make sense. My stepdaughter too will be like, I don't get it. And that's how it'll be. But that just means I have work to do for him and for my audience, for sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So any more about the know your fundamentals, the who, what, how, the niche? Yeah.
We need to also know who you help. We know that with your message, but how do you help them? So knowing your fundamentals, so that if you did have a person on the phone, do you know what you're offering to them if they are a fit?
Yes.
Because we've had clients get out there. We say, get a person on the phone. They get a person on the phone. They're like, I don't know what I'm offering.
They don't know what they're offering. Wow.
So we need to have that fundamental down. How are you showing up for them? Are you going to be on a Zoom call? Are you going to be on a regular call? Are you going to be in a group? Is it going to be one-on-one? Is it going to be video modules that you're going to present to them? And then is it a hybrid? Like knowing your offer. What are you offering? How much does it cost? Like, what does it look like to work with you?
And making sure also that it's real.
Oh, yeah.
And I say real because I know when I first started out and getting in this journey, I was told like, make modules, make a course, make a video. And so there I sat in a room by myself, creating video after video after video without asking anybody if this is what they wanted, without knowing that this is what they wanted. Yeah. So being really clear in what you're offering in a way that that you're talking to the person. And even in those sales calls, like we've had so many people, and we'll get into sales, I know later, but in just talking about it, when you're in that conversation, some people are already in their heads about what I'm going to offer, that they're not listening to the person and listening to what they're asking for, what they need. So it may not be the 10 modules that you recorded by yourself in a room. Yeah. It may be a different one-on-one, the first 10 modules is actually probably one module that I really need to dial in because this is what they need. So, and just knowing what you're offering, being really clear that it's something that the other person needs, that the people that your ideal client, that the person that you want to work with, that's actually what they need. And that it's not just some like made up course that you made up in your head, sitting by yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two things you just said that really are sticking out. So, making sure that it's real, that it's rooted in your expertise, that it's rooted in something that you truly know and you have experienced. So that's one. And then B, making sure that, again, that they want, or want what it is you're selling. Is that the word? Or should we be thinking about that beta thought process? Should we do beta? I have 10 questions there, but it's something like a beta, especially if I'm going for my first client. It's something like a beta, something I should be thinking about in creating that offer.
I think that you can look where you are and see what questions are coming your way. If you're already in Instagram, what are people saying when they DM you? What are the comments and what are they resonating with? Look at your posts that you're posting and see what are they resonating with. And I would say you want to ask the people who are on the phone with you. When you do have a person on the phone with you, ask them, what inspired you to want to get on a call with me today? Or what inspired you to click the button, on the ad? Because they're going to tell you everything of why they're here. And you need to listen to their words, because what the answer to your question, Nicole, is don't necessarily give them what they want. You need to give them what they need, what's going to solve the problem that they have, the problem that they think they have. Because you might know that, you have a deeper problem than you have. But if you talk about that deeper problem, it's going to miss them. You need to talk about the problem that they think they have, and that'll help.
Okay, that makes sense to me, because I also say this as you were talking there. I think sometimes people miss the fact that the person is telling them what they think they want. And we're like, well, here's our offer. And this is, and blah, 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 blah. And they missed it because they're too busy selling whatever it is they want to sell them, instead of selling them what they think they want. And then as a part of the offer, go deeper and address what they want and also what they actually need.
Yes. Exactly.
Is that fair?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm not no guru and all of that stuff. I'm telling you right now. Okay. So, so we said the who, we said the what, and the how. Any last thoughts about the know your fundamentals?
Yes. I will just make the last thing that I would say too is consistency. Be consistent. We've been talking about this a lot lately, because it's been showing up for us in so many ways. But being consistent in, again, your message, who you are, how you're showing up, when you're showing up. Sherri and I show up every Wednesday live in our Facebook group, just to give some basic knowledge of coaching and sales and whatever they need. But being consistent has really shown us in so many ways. Like we've had people show up after watching us saying, I've been watching you for a year. And so I finally came up and had the question. And finally, I'm not hiding anymore. Like you said, here's my question. And then we get them on a call and they're like, I didn't think that you guys would just be willing to get on a call with us, you know? And we're like, where have you been? You've been following us for a year? Like, what's happening?
Shouldn't you know this? We'll do
right. But we are consistent in our message. We're consistent in everything that we're doing and how we show up. And that consistency is really allowing people to know exactly who we are and what they can get from us.
Yeah. Because the truth is that people are very much inundated with information, with people, trying to be in their face, right? So if you're not consistent and they have a problem that they want solved, and you can think back to every single time, there's probably people in your email right now that that one day when you need that thing or when you're really ready for that thing, that's who you're going to reach out to, right? Yeah. I have people like that in my emails. We actually hired a marketing team because of that. I've been listening to our podcast for a long time. I'm like, okay, when we're ready, Jessie, we're hiring them, and boom, there we go. So that could be happening for you. And if you aren't consistent, guess what? They will forget about you. Or they'll think you don't do that anymore. And they'll find the person that's in their face. They're going to find the person that's reminding them of, I do this and this is what I do for a living and I can't wait to help you. They're going to go to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually very powerful. That's a very powerful thing to say, that, if you're not consistently there, because there definitely are people that says, I can't do it now, but they do come back and they do find you, because at that point they need you. And somebody, I'm not so sure who, I apologize if I'm misquoting someone, but they were like, that you need to purchase or do what you need to do with the stuff you need right then and there. So perhaps you don't need a virtual events person right now. Perhaps you don't need, a marketing team right now, but you will. So if that person is consistently not in your face, but consistently providing that same messaging, hey, we can help you, they will come back around and say yes to you, and you'll get that next client, right? Okay, so let's talk about authentic sales. I know this is the sexy part, but the last stuff was super important for everybody to get a context with, I know. So let's talk about authentic sales, how to sell without being slimy, or not just without being slimy, but feeling slimy, because I know the word sales is kind of like, even for me. So
And it used to be like that for both of us too. I mean, I accidentally stumbled upon being a salesperson. I resisted that even. I was coaching for another coach, and she just asked me, would you also sell? And I was like, heck no, that's not who I am. I'm a coach. Right. And so, but it turns out what I learned is that I was able to sell without really knowing how to sell, except for following a few framework pieces, because I would just show up and care about a person. And I learned things like care enough to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Like, be honest with them. And honest sometimes could mean you're telling them a thing. You're not just going to validate all the things they've been hearing from everybody in their world. You need to be honest with them in a way that can change them in a way that's constructive and supportive. But, Jessie and I are able to tell people what's the truth, even if it's not what they want to hear.
And that sometimes is the hardest thing.
It is, but that's all sales is. Like, sales is truly just you standing clear on who you are, who you're serving, what qualities do you want in your life? Like, we're vetting them. We're not desperate looking for anybody who wants to give us money. We have qualifications. We have applications that they have to fill out, because you're thinking about this 6 months with a person, 6 months in their world weekly. Do you want that with everybody? No.
Yeah, no, you don't. Can you talk a little bit about that process of vetting? Because I think authentic sales is making connections with people as well. So, how do you make your connection with your next clients? I know you have a Facebook group, so that's one way, but how do you make those connections so you can be really, truly authentic and not feel slimy?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thankfully we have a lot of people reaching out to us because, again, our message is clear. We're putting ourselves out there. We're being consistent. When we get on calls with coaches, we again want to know why they're here, what their intention is, what's motivating them, what's driving them, what are the challenges that are happening currently that's keeping them from being successful. And one of the biggest things that Sherri and I really look out for is we can't want it more than they want it for themselves. So when we're on these conversations, if they're just like, well, kind of, I don't know about this, unless they're a 10 and ready to go all in, which is where we are, we're ready. Like if you're going to hire us, we're going full steam ahead. We're going to just get in there and we're going to do the work to get you to where you need to be. If you're not ready to be there, then that's not a right fit. So we're coming from a place, not from scarcity. So we don't get on these phone calls like, we have to get this client, Sherri, let's get it. We need to make this money. Come on. We go in it. And can we help this person the way they need it? Like, can we do what we need to do to help them? And are they going to show up the way we need them to show up to make sure that what they're doing is actually going to work? So, a lot of people that we even talk to just in our sales conversations as we're on a sales call, because we're very clear, like, if we can help you in the end, we're going to tell you what that looks like. If they're on the call and they're saying, well, I'm kind of in this business, but I don't want to do sales because it's really slimy. It's like, well, how and when are you going to get your clients? How are you going to get customers if you can't embrace selling, So we take that all into consideration when we're on our sales call, that there are certain things that they need to tick off the same way they're interviewing us, we're interviewing them. And if it turns out that we can work together, we're going to tell you exactly what that looks like. If it isn't, we're going to probably give you resources and say, here's the next steps that you should do. At this time, it's not right for us. And when you go into that, when you go in with that mentality, without going in of like, I need this sale, there's a feeling, there's an energy that comes out of it that everybody's feeling comfortable. Everybody's going to know, really. I think it should come naturally at the end, whether they are ready to say yes or whether they're not a perfect fit.
Absolutely. And we do say we only want people who are a hell yes, like really excited to work with us. And we are not attached if that doesn't happen. But the biggest qualifier question that we have, I think, internally is, will they happy dance with us?
And if you've followed them at all, that's her thing, happy dancing.
Yes.
You better be like moving and grooving with them. Yes, I definitely know that. That's awesome.
We have a group right now that we're working with. We love our clients. This one group, they're a group of pastors, and they're creating this amazing program. We're just having so much fun with them, and their whole family is getting closer and closer every time. We're getting happier. Happy dances are happening, and it's just like, okay, we feel when someone's the right fit, just like you do in a relationship. So even if you've never had a client, we really encourage you to qualify a person. Do you want to hang out with that person? Do you want to help that person really? And do they have the desire and the willingness to do what you're asking? Because they're only going to get results if they do their part, because you're not doing it for them. And that's the whole thing about coaching. So ask those questions of yourself and then of them as well.
Yeah, Chris just said they're very good at telling you a hard truth in the most compassionate way possible. I know I don't think I could ever hear you guys saying like, meanly something, but letting someone know this is what's up, and we want you to succeed. So, I think Chris is spot on and what he said right there for sure.
We love Chris. Yes. And that's true. And that's part of sales. So if you have to think about a sales conversation like this, are you going to just tell them the same things that they've heard from everybody? That hasn't changed them. How can you tell them the truth? So for instance, if you're asking them a question about what they've got going on in their life and what they're wanting, and they say something that's like a red flag for you, where you say, ooh, if they keep believing that, they're going down a wrong path, right?
Yes.
So you could say, pause. We need to pause for a second. I want to address the thing you just said. Can we talk about that? Get permission to go deeper. And you can say it super compassionately, like I just did. If they feel that there's a real desire to care for them and help them, they will let you in. And people want to do business with people who care about them, right? Especially nowadays. So be yourself and really care. You're a coach. Most of you who are listening are coaches. Be a coach on that call, with the caveat of not over coaching, because if you give them too much it's not that you're giving away all your secrets. We don't believe in that. Like that, we think there's no end to all of the goodness and the wisdom and all that. So let that go. I know that's out there in the industry of like, don't give them all your stuff.
Yeah. That's freeing to people. What you just said was very freeing to a lot of people. I know what you just said. So
thank you. Because the thing is everyone's so worried about giving away their best stuff. But we say, if you only have like 10 minutes of best stuff, then you need to go back to the drawing board, you know? But the reason why you don't want to overcoach really is because what it does is it gives that person on the call a false sense of, I've got what I need. Thank you very much. I'm going to go do that and I'll let you know how it goes. The problem with that is you really didn't change their life. You didn't give them the process. You didn't give them enough to really implement, and you're not going to be doing it with them. So you really haven't helped them at all. You just gave them more information that they're not going to be able to use. So that's why we say don't overcoach. At the same time, stop them in a moment of maybe lying to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely hate to wrap this segment up because, we're getting goosey tidbits right here. Molly just say, I've been listening while making food for the monster. But this is all amazingly spot for these ladies for sure. So I do have to go to the next segment. Anything, last words you want to wrap up telling us how to get your first or next client?
Yes, there's a really important piece. Start with where you are. Start with the people in your world. A lot of new coaches and coaches in general want to skip this spot. They want to skip over to let's market to people we don't know because they're afraid of the things we talked about earlier. Start with where you are. That means your phone, contacts in your phone. That means your database, people that you might have talked to before. Maybe you weren't confident about selling, so they weren't feeling that you could really help them. So they said, bye. And now maybe you can follow up with them and give them a new opportunity. People in your comments and your DMs, use the voice DM. That's a great way for you to infuse who you are in a real conversation because people can really feel you that way. But we would say, reach out to people this week. We give you a challenge. Reach out to people, 10 people by the end of the week in your world and have a conversation. Ask them questions. Be a coach. Do that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Challenge accepted. Hashtag. Yeah. Put it in the comments. Hashtag challenge accepted. Yeah, for sure. Jessie, any last minute on that?
No, just I'm going to stick with the consistency and being authentic. And, with Sherri talking about the voice message, we were laughing earlier. You have to be highly aware of like texting and putting anything in words on text. They're going to read it the way they're going to read it. So one of the things that I have is like when I answer a question, when somebody texts me and they answer a question, I'll say like, yes, period. Or like, that sounds great, period. And I started getting back, people were like, you're so direct. I mean, well, you're so harsh. And I was like, oh, I was just finishing my sentence with a period. So just be aware that, your personality really does have to come out. So using your voice is a really great thing. Coming on video is a really great thing. So people can really get your personality. And so just don't rely on just typing things out and making things that are static, like pictures and things. People need to hear you. People need to hear your voice. People need to see your personality. So get it out there because that's also part of the technique that's going to get them to want to work with you.
Yes.
Gotcha. Take a breath, everybody. That was a lot, but it was really good. It was really good. Okay, so let's get into our next segment. We have to get away to go to our next segment with your best business advice for online coaches after this brief break. Okay, so living your best online business life is the name of the segment. And I'm asking Sherri and Jessie, what is their best online business advice for us?
All right. This one is, you hear a lot about authenticity, right? Oh, be yourself, be authentic. And we say yes to that. And you want to be authentic with a twist. And here's what that means. We have lots of different parts of our personality, right? We are authentic in lots of different ways. Sometimes you're the empowering person, and sometimes you're hungover on a Sunday, right? So think about the person that you're trying to serve and bring that authentic part of you that can serve them the best. So what Jessie likes to say is, we're not faking it till we make it. That is out the window. We are being ourselves. And you have to think about the person. Is the thing that I'm about to share, in the way that I'm about to share it, is it going to actually help them? Or is it going to be a disconnect? Because every time you're connecting with a person and talking to a person and being out there in front of people, you're either creating a connection or a disconnection. So authenticity is the key, and being authentic in a way that's consistent with your message and actually helps a person.
Anything to add to that, Jessie?
No, that was actually quite perfect. But yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. We see like that fitness coach that like is all about nutrition. And then they're like 5 days in a row, they're like, oops, I slipped again and I'm eating McDonald's. Oops, I did this. And at some point there's a disconnect with the person that you're trying to reach, saying, I'm going to help you with nutrition, but I can't help myself because I'm back at McDonald's doing an oops again. So like, if you have that oops for the 4th time in a row, you don't have to go live. Take a break.
Yes, just take a break, y'all. That's awesome. Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. So we're going into the next segment, guys. Let's connect. This segment is all about connecting and making connections between our guests on the show and the audience. Sherri and Jessie, who would you like to pull into your inner circle and get to know from our audience?
Ooh, okay. So we love being on stages like this. We would love to help more people. We would love to be on all kinds of stages, podcast stages, summit stages, workshops. We would love to help our coaches out there in the world. So if you know anyone who needs to help coaches, if you have a stage for that, to help them with their online business, to help them with sales, to help them with creating landing pages and messaging, and understanding what your business is doing and who it's for, and creating all those pieces, the fundamentals, and doing it your way, because it's not a cookie cutter thing. We actually do a custom thing for every single person. Then that's what we would love. We would love to help more people.
Yeah, showing up any way we can is our thing. We like to help people, showing up into your memberships, into your groups, into any way that you need us to serve you. Like, we're here. I feel that sometimes there's a disconnect where people are afraid to reach out to people and ask for help. We're all about ask for help if you need it. And if we can help you, we're going to give it to you. So just invite us over.
Yeah. You have some great podcast guests, not even podcast, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. There's so many different ways other than podcasts to really kind of come together and collaborate. And these two ladies, you can see how they gel and they go back and forth and they really complement each other. You saw how this worked and how they did it. And, at first, some people are like, oh, having two people, how to manage it. They complement each other. They easily flow around each other, and that synergistic, if somebody finishes a sentence or whatever, boom, the other person is jumping in there and making sure the sentence is finished completely. So you see how it is between them on this show. So make sure, if you are someone who is a podcast host, or somebody who is a podcast host, or having an event soon that needs somebody talking about online events, if you need somebody for your Instagram Live or your Facebook Lives, whatever, get in the comment section. Say, that's me. I would love for you to come to my community. I would love for you to come to my Facebook group. I'd love for you to come X, Y, and Z. These two are the two people to have them in your group if you have coaches in there. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this and who we can bring to your circle, because you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's funny because, as I did this show and thought about who I would want, you guys were the top people. I was like, I got to get them on this. We've been on other things I've done. I had to get you. So thank you guys, both of you, for doing this and for finding the time and all the things. I had to leave that spot open.
Can we give you a little shout out too? I know,
Sure.
I know it's not about that, but
I know, but like people are like, she told them to do this. I didn't.
Nope.
No, if you listen to pretty much any time we talk about live events, we will talk about you. But a year ago when Jessie and I did our first summit, we knew we got in over our heads and we needed help. So first we got the Krista Miller Summit in a box, and then we recognized, okay, that's amazing. And we were implementing, but the time was crunching and we needed someone to hold our hands. And that's when we came into Nicole's life and hired on Fempreneur Online. And that was one of the best decisions we've made as a business so far. They did not disappoint. They made our lives so much easier. So if you're thinking about having a summit or a live event and you need somebody in your corner to help you really put it all together and do a lot of the heavy lifting so you get to just show up and shine, then Nicole Beatty and Fempreneur Online are your people.
100%
Thank
agree.
you.
Yeah.
Love y'all. Again, I didn't tell them to say that. But
She did not. And we love Nicole. We want to take her everywhere with us. We put her in our pocket wherever we can.
Well, you made it very easy. And just like you said, in working with clients, you're looking for people who are all in, people who are like, I'm getting ready. We're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And that's the type of clients that you guys were, that it was really like, we're all in and we're ready to do this thing. And you weren't looking to pass a bunch of work over to us. I know that for sure. You guys were looking to really have a team come together and have a great event. So I definitely thank you guys for letting me be a part of that event, because it was really cool.
It really was.
Yeah. So we're about to kind of wrap this up. I mean, this is the longest episode. I've said this for other people. This is the longest episode. That's okay. That's okay. So again, thank you guys for being here and for doing the show. And and you guys check them out. Where can we find you? I think that's the next thing that we got to make sure we get in there.
Well, if you're hearing this before March 24th, 25th, 26th, then you need to come to our Make Your Business Real Summit. So you can find us there at starcox.com. Right now it's /waitlist. Later it will be a different one. But if you just search for Make Your Business Real Summit, Starr Cox, you're going to find it. And maybe, Nicole, you can put some kind of link somewhere. And come to our Facebook group where we go live today. We're going live in a half an hour, and we're going to talk about, I forget what we're talking about, Jess. What are we talking about?
Something fun. Something amazing. But the Facebook group is called Real Support for Coaches. So find us. We're live every Wednesday, dropping some knowledge and having some fun and celebrating wins whenever we can.
Yes. Oh, and our Instagram. We love being in Instagram. It's starcox.community.
There you go. There you go, guys. Make sure that you check them out. I mean, again, you see how they are together. This is how anytime I talk to them, this is how they are. And I just appreciate them and their support for my business for sure. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right. So I'd like to thank my guests for today's show, Sherri Starr and Jessie Cox. I would say Sherri and I'm going to say Jessie Cox and Sherri Starr. We'd love to have you as a guest on this show. If you are an online coach and you teach online coaches, or you teach fertility, or you teach business, or you teach wellness, whatever the case may be, we'd love to have you on. Go to fempreneuronline.com/guest. And so at the end of every episode, we say, who's next? Okay. Boom, cut. Isn't this funny? We're still live. I know you guys, we're still live. So if you're still watching, this is just behind the scenes stuff of how you put a show together officially. So you're seeing the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm going to make sure that we put all of them on here really quickly. And what I'm going to do, I know we should have happy danced our way out. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
We don't need music. We have.
I know. It's like we don't need music. Yeah, love it. Okay, and I don't want any infringement or nothing going on us. But okay. So in the private chats, you have those three things. What I want you to do is I guess figure out how you want to say it. Those three phrases.
Oh.
And then in the middle of the phrase, you take a break. So obviously the editing, fairies, we can figure out how to edit that. But I guess say how you want to say each phrase, so I can get that on tape and get that on everything. And then I got to figure out how I can get myself off stage and get you two on stage only. Let me see. Let me show you how you do that.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your own name, or do you want me to say your name and then you say the rest? Like, how would you prefer?
Sure.
You
I
have it
think
in
we can
front of
each take one. You want to each take one?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Ready?
what I'll do is I'll take off and then I will mute myself and then you guys can go.
Okay. Go, Sherri.
Okay, let me see what it says so I can look at the camera. Hey, I am Sherri Starr, and that's Jessie Cox, and nope. Hey, I'm Sherri Starr, and that's Jessie Cox, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Online Coach Connection. I was looking away.
Wait, hold on. So it's
Hi.
Fempreneur Coach Connection.
Okay, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Coach Connection. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Take two. Hey, I'm Sherri Starr, and that's Jessie Cox, and you're listening to the Fempreneur Coach Connection.
Hi, I'm Jessie Cox, and that's Sherri Starr, and you're watching the Fempreneur Coach Connection.
Hold on, you pointed the wrong way.
Oh.
I won't point.
You can point, but you pointed to like not Sherri. Okay.
This is Sherri.
Yeah, that's Sherri. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's backwards. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
okay.
forgot. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Hi, I'm Jessie Cox, and that's Sherri Starr, and you're watching the Fempreneur Coach Connection. That's you, Sherri.
Okay. The same thing again. Hey, I'm Sherri Starr, and that's Jessie Cox, and you're watching the Fempreneur Coach Connection.
No.
No?
Hi, I'm Jessie
No.
Cox. I got it. Hi, I'm Jessie Cox, and that's Sherri Starr, and we're talking about how to get your first or next ideal client only on the Fempreneur Coach Connection.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I'm ending the broadcast, guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye, Nicole.